All right, I am your host, Wagon Meister, otherwise known as Nick. And with me tonight is a good friend of mine from my college times. Well, actually, it's my post college times, but nevertheless, a good man who I met. He's very intelligent, very, very artistic, and just a wonderful human being in general. Let's welcome to the show, Ian. Welcome, Ian.
Yo,
How are you doing, buddy?
hey, I'm doing really well. This is my second time ever at a podcast. Like I just told you. So
Right.
yeah, dude, just guide me through. I'm here, open. I'm an open book for you tonight.
All right, there you go. Well, do you want to tell anybody any gripes, any things? How you doing in this current world we live in that has been existing now for at least the last year and a half, if not a year and a quarter, I suppose.
Good point. I should disclose to your audience because you already know. But yeah,
Right.
yeah, for the people listening. I am a preschool teacher. I teach a group of kids to get ready for kindergarten. And I've been doing it. I am nearing my second year of doing it. I've been doing it since I got out of college.
Mm.
Um, and so since it started, it's been a lot of fun, and there's a reason why I haven't burnt out yet, and I'm still doing it. I will say that some of that fun, like you said, in this year that's developed in over course of a year, this
Right.
world, um, I of course we've taken a hit, like a lot of central businesses, a lot of other industries have taken a hit from it. For example, going from teaching groups of 12 kids with a
Right.
co-teacher or something, I have had three right now.
Ah.
I have
Okay.
three kids, and it's a very different dynamic. And and I guess it is more relaxed in a way, but it makes the day go by longer. It
Right.
makes it slower, and obviously the kids too, not just us adults. We keep saying we really want this to end. We really
Yeah.
want to get back and socialize,
Right.
but deep down inside, kids do too.
Of
And the
course.
worst part is they don't know that, and they don't say it.
Mm.
And so we've been really up and about one keeping them safe, and
Hmm.
in terms of like germs and all this stuff, right, with kids,
Right.
but also like keeping checking on their mental health because
Right.
they
Right.
they can't tune in on that like some adults can, and some adults
Right.
barely can. So that's really been the thing, and I guess with lesser people to work with has been more space to do creative things, which I guess is nice. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, that's been my life for the past year now. I guess
Hmm.
if you really put it that way.
Well, there you go. I mean, I completely understand. I mean, I went off to Japan for that year and
Yeah.
I completed my contract. Um, Good company. I will not say who it is because I don't, like, I have a level of, I don't have like an NDA or anything. I can say it, but I feel like there's a professional sense of me doing it. And I did it for a year and that was enough. And I
Oh,
taught all
cool.
types of people from little 2-year-old, 3-year-olds, all the way up to people in their 70s and 80s. And I hear you. It's great that you're putting safety as a priority and the health of the kids in chat, but it's great also that you're trying to help them out emotionally in this time, given the fact that you're right. Kids don't know how to express themselves, especially
Mm-hmm.
during a time like this. They don't have the complex, most adults don't have the complex language these days to describe that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly, dude.
You gotta be like a
Exactly.
master, like if classical poetry of like 1910s and have experienced the Spanish flu to be able to experience what people are doing now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and lately it's been heightened emotions. I think kids are getting tired of my kids are
Right.
getting tired of the small group dynamic.
Yeah.
I know they love me because you can feel when you fit right in, and I've been with them for a month now at this new location. Again, also which I will not also disclose.
Right.
And but and we've clicked, but with a lot of the stuff that my co-teacher and I have in mind, it's lately
Yeah.
been uh, we have these ideas, and then like it happens, and then the kids, and I've started really, really thinking about it today. They look bored, but I
Mm,
know that they want to do this stuff. Or they're quiet. You're
right.
not this quiet. You're not this distracted, and I know
Right.
you want to do this because
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm just thinking this is really just a byproduct of there being three of them,
Right.
and three of them, two of us adults, and obviously the us adults can come off as bearing and overbearing because we want to control the classroom but give the freedom.
Right.
So of course sometimes the kids are probably going to feel a little less.
Yeah.
They're less in numbers,
Right.
and there's 2 adults. And in the ECE world, early childhood education world, it's a lot rarer to see males in the industry. It's mostly female and mostly white female. So, and I'm really glad to be part of a diverse crew. In fact, in our center, we only have 3 males, and I am one of them. And that our classroom has the majority of them.
Right.
The two of 3. And so they're probably, probably a little thrown off by that.
Right.
And so, but I also know that their numbers is affecting them. I knew if we have at least maybe 7 or 10, the dynamic would be a lot different.
Oh, for sure. I don't question it. I mean, I think, especially for early childhood education, you're more of the expert on this than I am, by any mile. But school at that time is not, it's like for learning like social values and like how to deal with people outside your family. That's what it's for at that time. So the fact that this is happening, it's kind of like, I don't want to say like emotionally crippling, but it's like relationship wise, like how to engage with others. It's like, no, I wouldn't say crippling, but it hedges it back, so it makes it more difficult in today's society. Right. But I mean, again, everyone around the world is dealing with this, and even when they had it under control, like at this point, like one can look at Europe, they had it under lock for a great majority of last year, and then it went down.
Yeah. It's like it became again one of the hubs of it.
Yep,
and
exactly.
Everybody thinks variants. It's like the first one people think about is the English.
Yep.
Or
the Kent variety.
The English variant.
Yep. And that one's supposed to be like, I think, the deadliest one that has come out so far. Although I know that the one in South Africa is resistant more so, but I think it's a weaker strain.
Yeah, it's they're like making the difference between, is it going to get you badly sick?
Right.
Or being a big difference in how badly sick you get and how contagious is it? Because those are 2 different scientific
severity
factors.
Versus contagiousness.
So it's like, well, contagiousness is obviously bad.
Right.
But I do see a plus, personally, I'm ECE person, not a scientist.
Right.
I see a plus in that if this variant is contagious, at least it might not be as dangerous to the body. But again, we still have to look out for our vulnerable populations, populations of color, the elderly, frontline workers.
Yeah, no question. These are the people who are like increasingly, the society, I would say before the pandemic, didn't even think about them in terms of, again, so to anyone who knows me in real life, and Ian has met me, he knows like what my political structure is. I'm a socialist. I tend to be on the more libertarian side. I value... Hello, viewer. How are you? Welcome to the show. We're talking about the coronavirus. That's our episode. So, back to the topic at hand. These people who have, before the virus, now have been put into the spotlight of importance in our society, I think the commodification of things, especially with the fact that right now science is being done right before our eyes. Before, we didn't know, like, the process and everything and how long it takes. And that's why people are so frustrated, especially, like, I would say more conservative people, because they tend to be more fear-based in their brain. That's just scientifically a fact. Statistically, and, like, people...
Fear-mongering.
I think neuroscientists discovered this. Like, the wiring is based more upon a fear-based thing. But the other thing I want to say is that we can't not look at these people's humanity and the fact that they need to survive and how, like, they're essential to our society. Elderly people are the people who built the society. Frontline workers are the people who are holding our society together so all of our industry doesn't collapse. Threads. Yes.
Exactly.
And then I'm trying to think of what's a third group that's at risk. People of color. They're traditionally not looked at as well as the majority population in most of the countries they live in.
Yeah.
And that's positively fucked, man.
So... Yeah. there's a position
Uh-huh.
of privilege to say that there is a variant,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not deadly. I'll be okay. I might get a fever and a sore throat, but I'll be okay. There's a
Yeah.
position of privilege in saying that. I could say that because I'm privileged to be young.
Yep.
I am privileged to be healthy in a time of when these physical factors and also these sociological factors
Mm-hmm.
are a huge determinant in how you might actually come out of the sickness.
Yes.
I am very also lucky and very, very grateful to say, and I will go on to say blessed, that part of my family contracted COVID in San Diego. The whole side of my sister, her family, her husband, my two of my nieces, two of my three nieces tested positive for COVID. So that's in a household of five, four of them got it. And the worst that came out of them, I'm super blessed and lucky to say, was loss of taste of smell, and of course the fever, the chills, the body aches. But they
Right.
came out of it.
Right.
And that happened during the holidays.
There you go.
And so the second that I got the news that they were doing that, I broke down emotionally. Not exactly, I didn't start crying. Your mind starts racing.
Right.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
They need help. How can we help them? And number two, and for people that might be popping in, I live in Seattle. They live in San Diego. I can't fly to them. It'll be a danger to me. I'll be a danger to them. It's torture, man. It's just torture. And well, they came out of it, and I'm highly privileged, lucky, and blessed to say that.
And I'm happy to hear that they survived. I understand in the fact that, I can't say that I have the distance problem. My brother, for example, my younger brother, not 2 months after he moved out when I came back to America, he caught the virus, I believe, in November. And he was just in physical pain. And I think that was just from his back hurting and his bed being bad, but amongst other things. But he caught it, and I'm glad he survived, and he didn't really have any of the bad symptoms because he's generally a healthy guy. However, if I had caught it, I have a body mass index of over 30. I'm a fat bastard, and that puts me at risk, which is why it's important for me to take it back and just hey man, I love you and I want to give you supplies and help you out, but you're also a health risk to me. So it's important to focus on that forward, which is why I think this would be a great segue to talk about the importance of vaccination.
Good point. Yes. And good transitioning. Wow, I'm having so much fun.
I'm happy. This feels like kind of the most natural podcast that hasn't been just conversation based on a relationship. If you've watched past episodes, it's kind of been topic or rambly, and I get asked stuff instead of me asking the guest stuff. So this seems like a more traditional podcast format, which is good.
Yeah, it's almost like everyone's watching us catch up.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the beauty of it, and
that's the awesome beauty of it.
That is the goal of the podcast. I want to not only, what can I say? Is selfish, a great self-aggrandizing desire to become famous on the internet, as everyone does.
Problem too,
but
we're all in it. Yeah.
I want to share my friends with the world because they're some of the most interesting people I know. There you go.
Thank you. I respect the grind. I respect the grind. I have creative projects coming out soon, so I respect the grind.
We will be talking about that probably after our vaccine segment, so that's important. But let's get on to that topic at hand. So, the vaccination. So, I'm getting the vaccine on Monday, baby. I set it up, and I get my first one 12 o'clock on Monday.
Here we go.
Yes.
You know, and I saw this as a meme on Instagram, and it just clicked on me, and I tried not to laugh in my work break room out loud, because our break room is next to our infant's room, and I'm like, I better not freaking wake him up. I saw this meme that said that it was a person holding the I voted sticker.
Right.
And he has the I got the COVID vaccine sticker. And he throws away the I voted sticker and he puts on the COVID vaccine sticker, and I was like, yo,
that's honestly where I feel like that's America. I think that's just honestly the world at this point right now.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've seen this as a. I'm not a TikToker at all. Like
Right.
I'm not, never a TikTok,
Right.
but Instagram and TikTok have
Yeah.
merged. Oh, not literally like company wise, but
Yeah.
the people that post on TikTok have been doing
Posting on
similar things on
Instagram
Instagram
and vice
through
versa.
Reels.
Yeah.
Exactly, and some people have been talking about the COVID vaccine as a dating factor when they're like looking, for dates.
Oh, that's not a lie. That's true. Okay.
And I was like,
Let
"Whoa,
me
that's true."
it is when I'm on the various dating apps I get on when I feel optimistic about dating before I get like, I'm just gonna delete them all because it's not a chance. There's a pandemic and I have a bunch of logical reasons and emotional bullshit from just not having a relationship and being bitter. And but when I'm in the positive side, before we continue, uh, I am vaccinated is in like 1 in 4 profiles out here. It is hilarious. That or don't date a Trumper or proud conservative and Trumper or I'm a
Oh,
random geek slash spiritual witch slash pagan slash I'm a blogger in the mountains slash I ride horses and I'm a cowboy. It is the weirdest dynamic of like hipsters, alternative left people, alt right people,
Jesus.
conservative. The playing field is stacked around here because just south is Colorado, and Colorado is like the mountain bastion for everybody. Like
Good point.
it's the fortress, and that's actually
It's a
it's a fortress. It's a fortress of balance. It's like yin and yang was like, all right, there's a place in this nation where conservatives and Democrats they both like guns, but they also like the pot. Let's go to Colorado. That's where we'll stick it out. And it's been that way
I like how
for a while.
Colorado's like just a hub of that intercultural commingling. And I
Yes.
will say that's part of that's part of Central Washington. Honestly, I've been to Central Washington, and for
I've
those of you that probably know, maybe you're in Washington. I just don't even know the PNW,
yes.
the PNW, the liberal corner, the liberal upper left of
Yep.
America. Like everybody knows that if you've
I
lived enough. But believe it or not, there's a huge actually population of conservative people here because parts of this state, being it's me, this is me being a historian and me
yes.
actually traveling when I went on vacation. It a lot of it's still being lived around like how can I say this? Also, I'm a city boy, so that's why I'm putting it this way. It might sound weird. It might be putting off like, but Ian, that's like normal. Like rural plain area farms,
Yes.
self-sustainable folk.
Yes.
The PNW, especially here in Washington, they pride themselves on locally grown food and the work that you put into it.
Right.
Um, that doesn't mean that if you're a farmer, you're
You're
right wing conservative who doesn't like brown people, but there is a subset. There is a lot of
yes.
people who are like that here in the PNW, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's quite striking
I've
and
I've driven through
beautiful
that.
areas.
I've driven through that part of the country. When I was in community college, my first winter vacation, I had saved up to about $1,000, and me and one of my buddies from high school took a road trip up to Idaho, and we drove through the back corridor of California and the eastern side of Oregon and Washington into the panhandle of Idaho. It is either gorgeous mountain forests like you
Hmm.
imagine the Northwest,
Beautiful.
or it is the most brown, flat, standard, you think it's in the middle of Montana countryside you can think of. 6 cows, smells like shit, and the gas stations look like they haven't been updated since the 1960s. But
Oh, dude,
but
dude,
it's
okay, I
funny.
will. It is funny. It's not just the progressive corner that a
Mm-mm.
lot of people think of
No.
in the world. It might be the symbol for that,
Right.
but the reality is a lot more diverse.
Yep.
Um, and I will say that I haven't made my way all the way to Eastern Washington, but I have gone to Central Washington to the beautiful town of Leavenworth,
Mm-hmm.
which right now it's my top just historical
Mm-hmm.
vacation site that I've been to in my little bucket list, my long bucket list actually.
Right.
But I have also, I already told Nick before the mic check, but folks who are listening, I love biking and I love going long distance. I'm not a racer myself.
You
I
guys
love
should
the
check
long
out his
road.
Instagram,
I don't care about going
guys.
fast.
It's wonderful. The pictures he takes on his bike rides are gorgeous.
Thank you. Undead Oceans at Instagram. Anyways,
we'll be plugging more of that at the end of the show, but there you go.
I went to Snohomish County. So we're not in Seattle anymore. We're not in the beautiful urban Space Needle City, and I was literally, culturally, got a bit of culture shock when there came a transition between I am in the suburbs of King County, the county which Seattle rests in. When I made myself to Snohomish County, and out of nowhere, I go from industrial suburbia, but still busy. And next, you know, I get hit by trees. I go down this hill on my bike, obviously. And next, you know, the plains open up to me. I'm like, baby, am I in Kansas? And that was the indicator. That was the indicator that I got to Snohomish County when I bike packed there. And when I took a rest stop to eat some sandwiches, open up, I'm in Snohomish. There I am, Airbnb somewhere over there. But it's just the diversity is really beautiful. So yeah, it could really be plain, it could be jam packed, just urban landscape, or it could be rugged, old.
Yep. Frontier time, early to mid 1800s style. Yeah. Listen, man, I gotta say, I just want to make it out there for a vast majority of reasons. Like, there's a Shinto shrine in Washington near Seattle I really want to go visit. I want to go hiking up in the mountains, because that's what I'm actually going on a hike tomorrow, dropping my mom off at work, so I got the car, so I'm gonna do that, get myself packed up, and put on my long clothes, and like take my like, you'll see a picture of me and it's like, okay, he knows how to hike. But yeah, oh god, gorgeous country. I am just, yeah. Plus, you don't have to deal with winds that could probably like take like a baseball bat and smack you in the face, that are harder than that.
Yeah, those are actually kind of rare. And the one time that we did get winds like that, guess what I did? Guess what us friends did? We went biking. One of us fell, not me.
Danger,
the crosswind hit him.
Danger.
Yeah. So, but for us, it's just rain.
Oh,
for those that know.
Rain is good, though. I like rain. Rain is peaceful. Snow is peaceful too, but when it's too much, then it's a hassle, and hassles suck.
Well, I guess now that we talked about the diversities,
should we get back into the vaccinations? I think we skipped right into that. We skipped over it. Yeah. So vaccine alert. If you're scared of vaccines, you have nothing to worry about, because there's no fucking thing you'll get the sniffles for 2 days because you're fighting a dead virus. Okay, so let's focus on vaccines. So, you are a teacher. Have you gotten your vaccine yet?
No, and here is why. Every state is doing it in phases. Right. Washington has this thing that I've pretty much memorized because I've tried so many times to register. In like you're in category A1, A2, 1B, B2, that kind of things.
Right.
Teachers, educators lie in the B category.
Really?
But Washington the state of Washington, Governor Inslee he put this flexibility. He had this flexible, like, twist to it.
Right.
And here's what I mean by that. We haven't technically reached phase 1B as far as I know. But I will say that in my work and on the news too, it was a pretty big deal. Here in Washington, teachers and educators are now allowed to take the vaccine. My co-teacher got both doses of vaccines already from like first vaccine 3 weeks ago or so, and his second dose last week. He couldn't come on Friday. He got his vaccine on Friday, and he could not come on Monday because he got, like you said, that side effect you get from the vaccine. And he just said that he was feeling kind of weak. He was just not feeling it. And he took the day off, and here we're allowed to take that because we are well aware that you might have a reaction to it.
Yep.
But again, disclaimer, vaccine alert, it means the vaccine is working. That means the vaccine has an effect on you. You're killing a dead virus. People still get reactions from the flu shots.
Yeah.
But we don't make such a big deal of it because we're just so accustomed to it.
Yep. And,
there's a science behind that, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone reacts differently to different things because we're all, we're all biologically different entities in the terms of the fact that we're different animals. But certain people have certain reactions. For example, a physically fit, probably well-fed human being who is not sick in any way, their immune system is probably very strong and can fight it off very quick. Someone who doesn't exercise, eats poorly, their body is kind of running on fumes, they would probably react a bit more negatively to it, but at the end of the day, it's not that big of a concern.
Not that big of a concern. And I think I've seen this because I've seen so many myths, what's it called? The fact and myth, fact and fiction comparisons. Does the vaccine cure COVID? No. People think it does. And people think that it makes you completely safe from the virus. That might be the case. But while we're still on the way to herd immunity, because that's the key word that you hear every time.
Yep.
Keep your masks on. Keep socially distancing. I told my parents, my mom just got her vaccine the other day, and I think I told you over message. My dad still hasn't gotten his because he's not an educator.
Right.
And I told them over a phone call, you have the vaccine and you're on your way to get it, but mom and dad, please pretend you don't have it. Keep distancing yourselves. You are still older. You are still a vulnerable population. Think that you don't have the vaccine and take those same precautions until we're give it a go.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's an extra precaution. It basically, for people who are genuinely confused about a vaccine was created to give you a sense of not immunity, but a strong resistance to something. It all begins with the various, I'm trying to think, when, I would say like in the 1600s, Europeans, I'm pretty certain, learned it from African people to take, like a cut of like an infected thing like a bubo from like smallpox, and they would put it in, and that would immunize you to smallpox because you have a minor, lesser version of it that builds up your immunity to the more toxic and killer version. And that's what this is. It's not dangerous. There's fluids in it that are going to make you fucking autistic, because that was disproven fucking ages ago at this point, right? And
that just pisses me off.
It's dumb. It's
dumb.
Dumb. It's really just dumb people being... Okay, you want to know something that pisses me off about this vaccine thing that rolls out? The amount of internet illiteracy that people who are over the age of 50 seem to lack, that is pretty standard among people who grew up with computers to just having it obviously in their lives. A 5-year-old understands vaccines works better than some 60-year-old who got vaccinated for smallpox when they were a baby.
My 4-year-old in my class congratulated my teacher for getting his COVID vaccine.
There you go.
We gave him a round of applause as he walked out to go get it.
And
and
go ahead.
Yeah, continue, please.
I was just gonna say that's an example of the positive affirmation of, listen, we're all humans and we're a communicable species, and we put all of our experience points in the fact that we can talk and engage with each other, and this my way or the highway, boots rolled up, if I get sick, I'll die, and I don't care if grandma and the dog dies too bullshit is fucking over America more than any other country in the world. That's why we have over 500,000 deaths. It's sad to say, but guys, fucking take a clue. Do you think we pulled up our boots and everyone just got a rifle and fucking invaded Nazi Germany during World War II? No, we fucking worked together to do that with communists and imperialists.
That's one of the very few times in history where we really got together over something.
Exactly.
And which is another reason And I believe this theory, which is another reason why the whole nation pulled itself by the bootstraps, and we also pulled ourselves out of the Great Depression.
Yes.
We just allocated and worked and did it. And I'm not going to say that we won simply based on that, but it's amazing the amount of power in numbers.
Yeah.
Here's another example, and I'm just going to briefly point it out, and I don't want to get into topic. When GME stocks did its thing,
yes,
the power of, I'm just going to say it, a lot of simple people on the internet got together, used their financial power, whatever that may be, and did something. Imagine what we could do if everyone just worked together on this COVID thing.
Yep.
And this is the simplest thing you got to do. Wear a mask, keep your distance, get the vaccine when you're able to.
And I would add a fourth one, and that is all companies developing vaccines will be forced to share all copyrights and all ownership of them publicly, so that manufacturing can be done on a societal level, so that we can get this shit nipped out, so we can get things back on track. But the problem is that that's an example of capitalism fucking us over, folks. Listen, I like shit. I like buying shit. I like personal property. Look at my fucking wall over there. I got a bunch of shit on this thing, right? Look at all that stuff. You know what? If communism happened, no one's going to fucking take that shit away. That just means the businesses will be owned by the workers. It's a worker co-op. That's all fucking they want. And if things were open and shared, a lot more people would be taking shots in places in the third world that are getting fucked over by first world countries, which is something we have to also, as I would say, people in the Euro-Ameri-Japanic sphere need to recognize, is that while we get vaccinated, people in Africa, people in Latin America, people in probably Central Asia, South Asia, Southeast
rural
Asia.
India.
Yes.
Yeah.
All these people are not getting vaccinated.
We've really moved away from the space race onto the vaccine race, and it's no surprise that us, the Western world, have come out on top of that.
No question.
It's no surprise, and that's a whole episode on its own, just talking about the ethics of the globe as a whole getting the vaccine.
That's global, societal, economic, and politics as well. We can talk about it, but that would be a whole other episode.
That could be a three-parter.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you're welcome.
Listen,
I love how you're such an intelligent and like fucking wonderful individual that you could bring that topic up and that we could talk about it. I'd love to have you on to discuss that again.
Oh, dude, let's put it down. I'm down to do it again.
That's a check mark in the future.
Yeah, if we feel like we didn't close it off by the end of the time that we have, then I'll try to schedule us, and bada bing, bada boom, ding dong.
Right.
But yeah, and that's a whole monster of its own. The ethics of, here it's a superpower. Here's a cluster of superpowers who were able to develop a vaccine. They have the ability to allocate resources to do that. It's bullshit when they say, well, we don't have enough money for it. We don't have money. Well, how about we stopped sending bombs and spending money on bombs and put it onto the welfare of the people? And the obviously stimulus package was, again, is another episode
I am so fucking pissed off that this stimulus that we were promised, like, they bombed Syria before we got our fucking money. They bombed Syria, and we were supposed to get $2,000 checks.
No way.
$2,000 checks is what we were promised. We were also promised that we need to fucking get the equality right out. We need to fucking pass progressive shit. So, listen, I believe the dichotomy of the American political system is horrendous. We need ranked choice voting and third parties and a more parliamentarian system, because the Republicans are basically just like, fuck it, we're fascists with a fucking T instead of a fash. A fasces. You know what a fasces is? It's the bundle of sticks together with a fucking axe in the middle. Symbol of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what,
there we go.
There you go. Hey, Mussolini even said, oh, you know, my ideology is called fascism, but another name for it is corporatism. But fucking that got removed when the Webster Dictionary got bought by probably General Electric or some shit. Nevertheless.
Oh my. Nevertheless.
Nevertheless.
The whole point, yeah. The whole point is that we have these resources to allocate vaccines to the people. And as superpowers, we're not doing our moral duty, well aware that we can help other nations.
Yep.
Well aware that we can help. But maybe if, let's say, I know that people are probably going to say, but we have to focus on our own people too. Yes, we should.
No
but guess what? We had the chance and we didn't. We sent bombs to Syria instead of sending the stimulus, instead of probably producing more vaccines. But I will say, though, we are, and I'll give credit to part of the system here, that the development of the vaccine, and this is also part of the fact and myth part, the vaccine was not technically rushed. It's just that we finally got our asses together to work on this common goal, as opposed to vaccines prior to this. It was not necessarily rushed.
And there you go.
We just actually literally around the clock worked for it, as opposed to 9 to 5.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like scientists are like sitting there. It's like oh, it's my time. It's my hour of coffee while I sit and relax at my like workbench, waiting to get the project started, and then an hour work and you're gone. This isn't an office.
They've been working, and this is what we got to give props to the scientists, to the frontline workers who've worked on this, the doctors. They worked around the clock. Yes. I can't even imagine the kinds of schedules that they run on.
It's probably physically, mentally taxing to deal with. You know, all of these people and that's something that needs to be congratulated upon, is that people are still going to jobs that they need to do for society or else collapse. Doctors, scientists, people who work in restaurants and food service, and retail workers in the sense of keeping things on the shelves so that people can eat. I mean, I wasn't in America when the big thing happened and everyone was going on a fucking toilet paper jamboree, but it looked horrifying across the ocean. Not just for me, it's just like, shit, that sounds bad, man.
Yeah, that was also like what happened right there was also a way that the beauty of social media was turned into a cesspool of misinformation.
Yes. There you go.
Then people get ready for this, and it's like, we can't tell the future, but we were also warned by a lot of our leaders not to do that.
Yeah. There's a need to hold back, and people did not. And that required strict punishment or strict order to be put in. There's the balance. You can't have everything be too controlled, but you can't have everything be too anarchic. And as someone who identifies as an anarchist, oh God, I'm going to get assassinated by the FBI or the CIA. They'll find my hobbit hole and they'll kill me for saying that I have that.
We probably got an FBI in the chat right now.
Hey, buddy, if you want to check on my mental health, listen, I'm glad you're always listening to me, dude. FBI, you're doing a great service. NSA, I know you're my therapist given to me by the government, so I got to post more. I got to be more honest with my emotions. Yeah. But in all seriousness,
Google.
Yeah.
But I know probably Google and Amazon.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm actually doing. I saw an Amazon strike this week where it's like 7 days. Don't use Prime. Don't stream the movies. Just nothing, and I'm gonna do that out of respect for.
Okay. Yeah. Actually,
what's going on in Alabama?
Now that you mention it, companies and vaccinations is probably a good topic to think about.
Sure.
And since I think about, what about like, and this is I'm not talking about a current event, something that's happened, but what if I want to know what do you think? What do people would think?
I mean,
I live with people that work in Amazon, and just seeing them and the kind of resources they get, it's getting huge as a company, and people that keep up would know. They even got their own system of nursing going on, because for my partner, she's working at Amazon, and they have this whole like hotline of nurses by Amazon because it's the employee benefits, and like where
Right.
else how big are they gonna go, right? Here's a good example that I was thinking, what if we got to a point where the vaccine could be something you purchase,
Oh yeah.
could be something that, you know,
I have
could
two.
be something that you get in sale. You could purchase testing kits.
Yeah.
You could purchase damn testing kits and do it yourself and report it that's saying I tested negative or I tested positive.
I
It's
have
a thing. So
I have some wonderful news for you then, man. So, I tend to follow international news. My main news sources are Al Jazeera English, the BBC, and usually something based out of Japan for Asia.
love the BBC.
Yeah, BBC's great, but if you're a British person, it's technically center right. But if you live in America, where center right is actually the leftist stance, that's a pretty left wing liberal thing to be reading.
Oh my god, that's so true. But yeah,
fuck the Overton window. Now back to my point. Back to my point. A Japanese scientist is currently testing and pushing through a new way to get vaccines around people. And what it is, it's a micro needle in a small patch that you can purchase at a store that will cost about $5. You put it on you, and it spreads through your body more effectively than a traditional shot or a patch that would go deeper. And it is cheaper to produce than the current vaccine going on right now. Well,
interesting.
But the technology is what I'm saying.
Oh snap! That reminds me of it just reminds me of the difference between checking your insulin via tapping your finger, pricking your finger, or putting on the patch that's letting you know, hey, by the way, your insulin's a little too high or whatever. But interesting, what country is this coming out from?
So this is a Japanese scientist is currently producing it. Let me see if I can look at the article here. Luckily, what I do is I'll just move on here. So go to Japan Times, and I'll read you the title of it because I'm sure you'd be able to read it for free. If you don't, check it out. The other thing I'd like to say is the fact that if anyone asks me, Amazon is the best example of how a centrally run economy actually does work, because the people at the top run all that stuff so efficiently that it's ridiculous that you can say that centrally run shit does not work economically. All right, let's see.
Good point.
Where is that article? It's supposed to be under science. Multimedia, community, life. I'm just looking through. I'm sorry. You can feel free to ask me stuff while I'm looking this up for the viewers.
It's a really good topic to bring up is what does the objections by the Catholic Church on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Okay, why is the Catholic Church objecting to that specific vaccine? I have not heard
Catholic. It is the Catholic Church. Bishop, you have not. I just read. So at work, sometimes I just slide through when I'm not with children and I'm taking a break. Slide through the Google News that I get. Obviously, it's a self. It's a vacuum of my thoughts because that's what they do.
Right, because it knows what you like and feel it. Yeah.
It knows what I like. Yeah, it knows what I believe in. It freaking knows what I ate for dinner tonight. Anyways, and people have been expressing moral concerns over the vaccine, and I pulled up an article just to reskim it from what I saw. And this is an interesting moral dilemma to think about. So here's a rundown.
Right.
There's a vaccine, Johnson & Johnson. Is the latest vaccine that has been approved by the FDA, I think, at this point. Yes. I believe. I can be corrected.
This is the single shot one, right?
The single shot one. We'll talk about how effective it is later, because I've also heard differing things about effectiveness. But apparently, Catholic Church does not approve and is telling its followers, which again, my friends, is a huge population of the country, my parents included, that it was made using lab-grown cells that came from the tissue of aborted fetuses from decades ago. And okay, you know what? Here I'm just reading it. I'm skimming through it. The vaccine was the third authorized to be used. Right. So yes, it has been authorized, and so that's why people, the bishops, are saying you shouldn't take it. And I have, well, one, I'm completely against what they're saying outright there and there, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
like
Oh, you're pro-life
it just
until
baffles me, and
until people die from not
you're
taking the
pro.
vaccine.
Yeah, but we died in the name of God, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a filthy
but I'm just
apostate, so
baffled that
it's
I'm
all good.
so. I guess I'm personally baffled because
Yeah.
being a former Catholic and coming from a Catholic family, I'm just scared of what that's gonna tell my parents. I'm like, oh my God, there's this third vaccine. My family can finally take it, and now their religious leaders are saying don't take it. And I'm like, oh no,
Well, it doesn't
and
help that.
they're gonna follow it.
Right.
They know they're gonna. I just know them.
Well, that is the problem with, and that's a whole other topic we can discuss about the Catholic Church in America in specific.
Truly,
You're a former Catholic, and I am a former Catholic. Of course, I fucking yeeted out of Catholicism when I was like middle school, and at this point, I'm pretty much a practicing Buddhist and a fledgling pagan. So yeah, I'm out of the broom closet. I don't give a shit. But yeah, I have my Shinto altar, and I have my generic kind of Germanic, which is dicey because that one is loaded with fucking racists, and I fucking am an intersectionalist, and I am an inclusivist, and I welcome anyone to worship whatever the fuck they want, within rational means, to not impose their will on others.
exactly. Thank you. As a religious studies minor, thank you.
Yeah.
Boom. We just created world peace right there.
Yeah, now we just gotta fucking go on a world tour to the Vatican, to the Mecca. We gotta go to fucking Vulture Peak in India, wherever the fuck the Upanishads happened. And I don't know, we have to keep fucking choosing things. Jerusalem, I totally forgot. That fucking threw my mind because I don't even think in a Judeo-Christian, Islamic, Abrahamic context anymore. I fucking forgot Jerusalem. That's just the most holy shit. Fucking, like, that's the most sanctified ground according to the rest of the world. And I fucking forgot it.
The Holy Land. Nowhere else is holier than this. But
Oh,
anyways,
shit.
what are your
Yes.
thoughts on
That's fucking
those
evil.
comments?
That's
It's
evil.
so dangerous.
That's fucking evil. If you're espousing that people need to take care of each other, listen, human life cannot be. I don't consider a human until it can fucking walk and talk. That means if it's like a still crawling around baby, it's like if a wolf gets it, fuck it. That sucks. Like that's dark stance, but I'm like, listen, if it can't do what humans are, my criteria for human beings are this: you got to be able to walk on two legs. That's number one. You got the bypass with the fucking things. If you got this and you can operate these things, okay, that's two, but it should be one. So those are like physical things. The other two, if you can't use abstract thought and you can't speak to communicate with others, oh fuck, shit, whatever.
Yep.
Well, it looks like we dropped a little there,
Well,
but
yeah.
probably the stream's going strong still on YouTube, and it just loaded back up on Twitch, so that's fine. It's just two separate videos. That tends to happen. I really need to figure out what's going on with my thing here, but I'll continue to record. So, continuing on. Continuing on. I just think it's fucking horrible that's a stance of the Catholic Church. I mean, has the Pope weighed in on this, or is this just from like the
Let's see.
directors?
Reskimming. This is from CNN.
Okay.
The new statement from the Conference of Bishops is at odds with a note approved by Pope Francis, who received the vaccine in January. And because it's January, I will say it's more than likely not Johnson and Johnson.
Yes.
The December note said that the use of such vaccines does not constitute formal cooperation with the abortion from which the cells used in production of the vaccines derive. We are proud, Johnson & Johnson said, we are proud to bring our COVID vaccine to the world and to contribute to ending this pandemic. Our single-shot COVID vaccine does inactivated, non-effective adenovirus. Now they're just getting into the science of it.
Right.
Um,
Well,
but they are saying that the codes for the coronavirus spike S protein and that there is no fetal tissue in the vaccine.
So basically what you're telling me is that they used stem cells from fetal tissue in the past to develop the vaccine, but in the vaccine itself, there is no stem cells. It is just the material that they use to generate through the scientific experimentation.
You know what? That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like to me.
Shit, man, that doesn't sound bad. That sounds fucking fantastic. It's another resource to be used to help people around the world.
And single vaccine, think about what single vaccine can do for a lot of people, especially for the first round of people that get it, which I will say are, of course, the elderly,
Yes.
which are going to be retired more 9 times out of 10. But frontline workers who are constantly working around the clock, or they're still working 9 to 5, 8 to 9, or some shit jobs, at a physical location. Imagine not having to take time off work just to get one vaccine, and you'll be clear enough to some extent, of course, right? Not saying that you have this complete freedom, but imagine having that ease of mind. Imagine having not to schedule a second appointment.
Right.
It's a pretty big deal not having to schedule a second appointment. It's the same reason why people don't vote, because they don't get days off to do those important things. Imagine not having to take a second day off for the vaccine. Of course, very different from voting, because you could just get a single dose from a pretty big company who used a resource that we allowed to use years ago, and it's working. And this is the product of it 40 years later.
Yeah. There you go.
Like, it's a good thing. We should be taking the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Luckily, I will say I'm lucky, and maybe, I don't know, I actually don't even know what you're doing right now apart from the podcast, Nick, but just it's luxury right now to have a single shot vaccine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's a lot less
I work in an industry that will be flexible enough for, say, go take your 2 shots, and go take the 1 shot, and it's fine. But there are people who can't say the same thing.
Yeah. For myself, what am I doing? I'm doing art and reading, and I'm becoming more spiritual, and I'm waiting to get my vaccine so that I can actually apply for jobs. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to be working on
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. Working on yourself. And lately that's been me too.
That's good.
But yeah, so I'm personally baffled and upset of those comments, because I know the people, and there are people close to my heart who are going to follow this advice. And I know that they will. And I'm just like, no. And I'm just thinking about it now. There is no way convincing a lot of the people that I know without getting to a heated argument, which I don't have the energy for. And again, it's obviously not my job. But still, those comments right there are huge. I will say it's a huge drawback to the progress we've been making. Believe it or not, it's going to come back to bite us.
Yep. I no question. But it's important to be hopeful about this shit, because it's such a dire topic of discussion as well, and the fact that certain people that you care about will be so influenced by the church or a meme on Facebook or other such stuff. That's where it gets dangerous.
Jesus.
Yeah, well, he's the one that went in and just it's like saying Jesus. I love that carpenter. He's great, hanging out in the desert with a bunch of dudes, hanging out.
My favorite socialist carpenter.
Exactly. Did he go into... Listen, he's the guy who went in with a fucking whip and just destroyed all the business in the temple. He's like, no. You know that table flip game in Japan? He did that shit everywhere. And that's why he was crucified by the fucking Romans, because he was a rabble rouser. It wasn't the Jews who killed him. It was the Romans. And if you think that's wrong, then you've been influenced by conservative, probably American-influenced, right-wing Christian media. And that's dangerous, because that leads to apocalypse. I don't want to die because you believe in some fucking fantasy. I'll take the fucking spiritual lessons he taught and apply them to my life to have a closer relationship to, I don't know, fucking higher power. I don't need an institution to tell me how to do that.
Dude, exactly. Well, I guess this comes through from studying what I studied.
Right.
You know, the Jesus's movement, and I don't want to go too in depth with it.
Yeah, don't worry.
There was a political aspect to it. So it was not the Jews, because the Jews definitely were not in power, that persecuted him. It was 100%. I agree with what you said. It was the Romans, scared of the power in numbers that he was gaining from being. And this part is partially true in its origin, being a religion of the peasantry.
Yes.
So they were scared of that number just getting stronger. But anyways, that power in numbers that I just mentioned is, again, coming back to bite us in the butt.
Yeah.
Catholic Church saying these things, and now I'm just scared for some of the dear and near people from back in SoCal that are influenced by those comments, and now there's this, not a solution, but there's this key to safety,
and
they're not gonna take it.
It'll be ignored because of some. It's like I was very happy when Rush Limbaugh passed away. I know that's a bad thing to say, but he was a horrible human being. He did what he did for profit, and he has misled so many people. And what's happening right now with religion taking a stance on you can't take this vaccine because X, Y, and Z, that's fucking over a massive amount of communities, not just in the United States, but the world over, because I'm fairly certain that out of all the denominations of Christianity, Catholicism is the largest.
Yeah, and this is fair to say that America is pretty much a Protestant nation in its roots. It is still very the Protestant denomination.
Look at Joe Biden. He's only the second Catholic president, and there are Christians who don't even think he's a Christian because he's a Catholic. They think he's like a devil worshiper. And there are still hatreds that exist at the beginning of this country. That, like, you want to know who are the original legal, like, fucking bad people? Germans who just wanted to fucking farm, and then it's like, nope, you got to include them in the white people because then we got to fucking exclude this other group that are maybe a little different. It's like same thing with the Irish and Italians, turn of the century. Irish became fucking white, and so did Italians, even, they were it's just like they keep stacking it on, and it's going to keep getting worse because they keep getting like, oh no, you're white enough now, I guess. It's a fucking, oh man. Listen, I'm a historian too, or like I studied history, and it is the most, I fucking hate American race theory so much based on whiteness because it's such a fucking fabrication. Just like, 20 years ago we fucking hated you, but you're in the club now, dipshit. That's what it is.
It just baffles you when you really get into depth into those kinds of things.
Yes.
Damn.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I can't even begin to think of countries like, I'm trying to think of just a predominantly Catholic.
Let's go with, like, I don't know. Let's say Costa Rica.
Brazil,
yes.
Oh, Costa Rica, Brazil, yeah.
Like, again, that's Latin America, which is one of the places we said is going to get fucked over. Now, not just because of the fact that a lot of first world countries are taking the vaccines for their citizens, but also because of the fact that they're religious. Let's call it like it is. It's a religious hierarchy. And all the people that go to church, they're the peasantry, they're the people below, they're the sheep, and you have to be corralled in by the priest class up top. And I don't know, what would you say would be like the knightly merchant class of like the modern contemporary world? Probably like the CEO would be like the merchant, like, knight class. They would be the aristocracy. Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah, that's it. No, yeah, that's it. You just answered your question. Yeah. That's really it. It's the aristocracy will be the CEOs.
Yeah. And then I would say the knights would be like middle managers and like maybe like white collar workers who are like a little too scared because they're like, it's like a knight on a farm. He still has to farm even though he's a knight, but he like goes out and fights in the Crusades or some shit. That's a fucking office worker. They don't know that they're shit kickers just like the rest of the peasants. They think, oh no, I'm a fucking, look at me, I'm in my fucking suit of armor with my tie and my fucking like Italian suit that I bought for $100 and then had to tailor. Some shit.
Exactly. And then we have merchants, and it's just really our layman of people who how would you describe
I,
that?
I, don't- I think
I can't even think of it.
merchants and aristocracy have basically combined because we live in an oligarchy. That's what it is. The merchants took over.
True, good point.
Mercantilism became. Mercantilism, of course, if people don't know, it's a system of economics in which the country and the economy are directly tied together based on mercantile efforts through colonialism. This evolved into the rapid industrialization capitalism of laissez-faire 19th century capitalism, that's kind that Marx was fighting against, and the various movements in the 1800s. And then you get into the fucking wild world of 20th century, and now we're in the postmodern of the 21st. And it boggles the mind economically because it's so fucking mixed together with like piecemeal shit everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. But
and there's just parts of it that don't change.
That's a whole other conversation again. We could talk about this on another podcast.
That's a whole nother season.
Yeah, there you go. This is going to be a regular thing. It's like intellectual talks with Ian.
There we go. Yes. Starting out today with what's most in everybody's mind, COVID vaccine.
Yes.
But yeah, well, I personally am looking to get that vaccine pretty soon, and this is what makes me very happy about the state of Washington and our leadership.
Yes.
To some extent, the day of the announcement by the state, by my workplace, emailing all of us saying we are now able to get the vaccine for those of you that haven't done so, because some of us did through the whole leftover vaccine. I wouldn't call it fiascos, but just situations where some places have leftover vaccines, and that's what confuses me. The vaccines have a very short shelf life. Some get thrown away because people don't show up, and I'm like, no. But anyways, the spots to get the vaccine, me as an educator, finally I can go get it. That same day.
Yep.
I'm not so busy. Let's go get registered. It's full. They're not even letting people register or even look for open windows. And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. But that's also a good thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what's important.
Because I can't get it. Yeah.
You can't get it, but the fact that it's full means a lot of people are trying to get it, and that's very good. In kind of
or doses are low.
Yeah. That's. But
I don't think that's the case here in Washington. I don't think that's the case here. I think the case here is that an open window, a window was opened. Mm-hmm. Now all these people that have been dying to get it, because actually educators have, it's been a huge deal here, at least in Western Washington, because especially in the former city I used to work in Bellevue, right across the lake from Seattle, they wanted to open indoor school for only a certain amount of kids in certain grades. They're going to start with kindergarten, and then they're going to do this on and off thing, kindergarten, 5th and 6th graders. Then we'll do first, and then we'll do until the population, things get better.
I'm getting like
but there's a huge
where it's
fight.
Important for them to be at the school at that time to adjust to how it should be. Like these important markers of education.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but there was a huge fight.
Right.
There's a good rollout, but it was a huge fight over, well, us teachers don't feel safe. And I guess I only partially agreed because I'm lucky enough to not work with too many kids.
Yeah.
But a lot of public school kids, I'm not a public school teacher, I will say I work for a private company school, will say, well, there's too many kids. You're still going to put them in these classrooms still kind of close together, and none of us are vaccinated.
Yeah.
And that was an issue. And so there was huge strikes. This has been going on for almost a month now. And I've been hearing and reading things about it somewhat. And yeah, there's been a huge fight on it. And I think those factors, especially because when it comes to Washington and current events, Seattle, Tacoma, Bellingham, maybe Bellevue, they get the eye because those are the metropolitan cities, and maybe Spokane and Eastern Washington. Right. But that's really the only thing. If I mention anything in between, no one fucking knows about them.
Right.
So that being said, Olympia too, that's the capital. They're like, they opened the window to educators. Boom, it filled up. That day, I'm like,
makes sense.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, there you go.
That was yesterday, and I'm like, I looked again. It was still full.
Well, I mean, like that's a thing where it's like it's important to check daily. Then maybe like then the servers
Yeah,
open
it's
up
gonna
for a
be a
window.
like yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. It's like, getting tickets for Coachella. Never done it myself, but people tell me you gotta check minute by minute, or Comic Con.
Yep.
But anyways, that's good. I'm so happy that educators, not just because I'm an educator that I can get it, but I've also learned that there are several schools already in-person instruction
Right.
already. And I know this is predominantly coming from schools that serve blue collar and public school children.
There you go. And those are important to take upon because those are the places where it tends to be the teachers have an overwhelming responsibility to take care of these kids, and probably it's like
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't leave Timmy and Jane at home in those places because it's like the problem of the inner city and the rural place having surprising amounts of similarity in the fact that they're not considered. They're probably either over or underpopulated. Things don't get taken care of seriously based on either usually funding, and it's important for things to get taken care of, and that makes sense that those teachers are getting it.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that they are, and so glad that we were pushed up from
Whew.
the Phase B thing, which there's a chance I might be wrong. We might be in Phase B, but Phase B is a huge category window. So I think what actually happened was that teachers were just moved up that
Right.
like chronology. So that I'm really happy about, especially with the state wanting us to go into in-person instruction.
Yeah.
Um, so we're making a step in the right direction here, at least.
And that's good. I'm just happy because you know I live in the least populous state in the United States of America, so the allowance of leniency is pretty high. Like my mom, who's an educator, she got her second shot at the beginning of the week, and that's wonderful.
There we go.
Yeah, and the laws are so loose here because there's so few people that I qualify as someone who is not working, but since I happen to be overweight, I get that luxury. So listen, get the vaccine, guys. If you're able to and you can make an appointment, get the damn vaccine. If not for yourself,
It's free.
there you go. It's free. You're gonna do it so you can help protect grandma and grandpa. That you can help not kill people. That the people who work at Trader Joe's or Albertsons or Smart and Final or any other store where you pick up your groceries or a restaurant where you want to grab food, you need to get it so they don't get sick and the people they don't know get sick because you could be a carrier and you could kill over 100 people over the course of a month if you don't fucking take care of realizing the importance of this and this and
And this.
yes, exactly. I was trying to think of
And
what like possibly like what position it would be, but that's a perfect one. Yes.
yeah, it can be that simple.
Yeah.
It can be that simple, and I want to emphasize can. Um, but not a lot of people are able to do such and such thing, and it angers me. But
Right.
and then the other thing that angers me is, again, and we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, is the misinformation that comes through, the thought bubble, the maybe or the ideology vacuum people get stuck in on social media of what they say about the vaccine. Um, I can honestly pull out only two or three. I guess lucky to say, I don't know if this is really a good thing,
Yeah.
but two or three people from my feed on either Facebook or Instagram. Luckily, I've been spending less time on Facebook because
Facebook
either
is
I
way
get
more
sad on
toxic.
Facebook, or I'm
Facebook
just
is
like,
such a toxic place. Like I love it because it connects me to people,
it's,
but it's so bad. That's why I'm on Instagram more than
uh,
Facebook.
I only I I use Facebook to connect with Mama and Papa.
There you go.
That's really it. To post pictures so that my parents can see them. That's it. That's it.
There you
And that's
go.
really it. Like, I don't even go there for like the things that you're interested in anymore. I go on Instagram for that, and maybe that's just a sociological change that people have been facing these
Yeah.
days,
Well,
especially maybe with TikTok coming up. And again, and I know from my partner too, TikTok is also its own thought vacuum of
Oh
information.
yeah,
It's
I've seen
ideology
I've
vacuum.
seen it. Like I follow like leftist YouTubers and stuff. I don't really like Instagram is for pictures of me posting stuff and also me looking at art and maybe cosplayers or something and my friends. That's it. It's a
Yeah.
positive, non-issue based, friendly community that I enjoy.
Oh, that's a good division. I appreciate that actually.
Yeah, and you're a large part of it, and I hope I'm a part of it when I make my poems and my posts in the mountains and stuff. I hope people enjoy that.
Hell yeah.
Nevertheless, Facebook is a toxic cesspool of monstrous things, and so is
I
TikTok.
fucking hate Facebook.
Facebook's awful. Facebook's
Okay, Facebook is awful, but it's funny.
like
It's honestly funny sometimes.
yeah, no, and I mean like when you use Instagram, that's a Facebook affiliate, which is sad that they got leashed in. Ugh. But there you go.
Yeah, when Instagram started out as this, I'm not gonna say pure either, but it was, it's like own thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna say the magic word
Right.
that encompasses everything we talked about.
Yeah.
The motherfucking algorithm. It's the algorithm. The
Yes.
algorithm here is just, it knows you, and that part is scary. And again, that's its own episode too.
Yeah, there's
the algorithm.
Well,
But-
it sounds like you're going to be
Yeah.
a regular guest, which is something
Yo,
I need.
I'm
so
there. We
happy.
go. I'm down to have I'll be a regular guest whenever possible. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. I
man.
love having talks. I mean, I guess it's also like the want of socialization with people in these hard times.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
no
that's
question.
my own thing. But the algorithm in terms of the vaccine
Yes.
has been, I want to say it's a good thing because I've been, like I said,
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of fact and myth related things talking about the vaccine.
Right.
Your friends saying, "Oh, I got the vaccine," right? They show you their cards, and then they're doing fine, and you're like, "Man, I should get the vaccine." You know what? I could take the day off if I get sick, of course,
Yeah.
or whatever. If I get sick, fuck it, I'm vaccinated, right? Do it for mama and papa. But also, I see those positive things because it knows me.
Yeah.
Now, just imagine being part of the other side of the population who's already, man, Johnson & Johnson using fetal cells. Doesn't sound like me. Here comes the rabbit hole of clicking, liking, following, and subscribing that has led you to this. I will say it again, a rabbit hole of
Yep.
information. Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube isn't misinformation either.
There's
Sometimes
a bias.
we
There's a
go off the
bias.
deep end, of course. There's
no
a bias,
question.
of course. Like anyone with a slight education can tell you that.
Yeah.
But there is, I will say, I will agree to this
Yes.
with my heart that there is a degree of danger in the differences
Oh
of
yeah. No
misinformation
question.
here.
No
Here
question.
and then.
It is wild.
And just imagine being part of that population, falling down that rabbit hole through that
Well,
algorithm,
I
magic word.
understand. It's
And next
that
thing you know,
pipeline,
you're
man.
just you're so anti-vax that you've probably, without knowing, people have died because of you. There was a time in 2020 when restrictions were so meager, I will say in Washington or Seattle at least,
Right.
that every now and then I did eat out. Every now and then I went to places.
Right.
And looking back on it, I was not doing my part because I got too relaxed. But I also got too relaxed because I got this like mixed
Right. It's
information,
like, I'll be fine.
ideas,
I'm young. It's yeah.
and it's open. Might as well,
Yeah.
right? And that was like little less than a year ago, and I still feel bad that I might have accidentally killed people without knowing it. I might have actually been COVID positive, and my tests were all false negatives. But being young, you never know. I could have just been young and healthy. I could have just been asymptomatic.
Mhm.
I might have immunity and not knowing.
Yeah, it's true.
And I've done 3 tests, all negative.
There
That's
you
the
go.
only thing keeping me insane, that I have never had COVID. I could have COVID right now and not know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I
And
could have killed
that's-
people without knowing.
That's the danger, is that you don't know. And that's why prevention
You don't.
is the number one thing you can do. And that's why you gotta
Do it, people.
It looks fancy. It'll look
Yeah,
fine. You can do it. If doctors can wear that in massive suits 5 times over with like 4 different masks and then a shield in their face, in rooms where they have to operate on people, you can put on at least 1 mask.
At least one to the grocery store.
All right.
Bada bing, bada boom.
It is time for the rant thing. So, this is a new segment I'm doing because I have noticed that I have to do it every now and then in pretty much every of my podcasts. I have to use the restroom, so I give my guests as much rant time as they need while I take care of my business. I want you to rant about a topic that you want to rant about. All right, you can go whenever you want because I have to use the restroom. So,
hey, we'll trade spots when you come back because I gotta go too.
All right, that's
All
what
right.
happens. It's the rant switch. All right, so it's time for you to rant, my friend. I will be right back.
All right, the rant. What's been on my mind lately? What has been on my mind lately, folks? It's I should probably get the stream on Twitch on my second monitor just to see what people are saying because I don't have that. I don't have that second screen that Nick has. So let's pull up that, and if there are any questions, and I guess I could answer questions if there's anyone on. That'd be pretty cool. What's been on my mind lately? Just the vaccine. I guess that's why I talking to Nick about it. Just the vaccine's been on my mind lately. Mom got vaccinated, so that's cool. Yeah. What could I rant about? What could I rant about? Oh, here's something completely random that happened to me the other day. One thing that happened to me, I was getting coffee on my work lunch, and this person, and this is just me having mixed feelings about what happened, but anyway, let's get to it. I was getting coffee on my work lunch, and I have headphones on because I like to listen to music all the time. I'm the music man, I guess. And I'm carrying my coffee, and I'm going back to the office. I just went to go pick it up from this place down the road. In the city, though, I wanted to mention that, so everything's close by as fuck. And this person walks up to me and says, hey. And I'm like, oh, snap, sorry. I take off one earbud. And he's like, oh, dude, sorry. I thought you were ignoring me. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I just listen to music. And he asks me, and he tells me he's homeless, and tells me that he's looking for a job, and he's over here. He doesn't have a mask on, which was worrying me. Now that we're on the topic of COVID, and he's smoking a cig too, so he's kind of huffing and puffing real close to me. And he says, he just wants some stuff to get himself by, blankets, clothes, a little bit of money to get going. He wants to get a haircut, and he did have long hair under his beanie. He wants to get a haircut so that he can look a little bit better for jobs because he wants to get a job. And then I'm just like, yeah, that's totally fine. I really don't mind. And oh, you're here for the rant. You should listen to the end of it.
I'm not gonna ask your rant topic until you do your business. So I'll engage my rant mode.
Let me finish the rant because maybe someone's listening to. Actually, I'm not done. And he asked me if I could give him some money, and I say, oh, I don't really carry any cash right now, and this is true. I'm pretty much anti-cash because I don't need to. Everything's either Venmo, credit card, debit card.
Right.
And so also I've been very frugal with my spending lending lately, so I'm pretty proud of that. Nice. Anyways, and I say, oh yeah, dude, and I don't really have any money right now. I'm so sorry. I would definitely give you something, and I'm not carrying anything. You just got here, so basically me walking, work lunch, went to go get coffee, going back to the office. Person walks up to me, and now we're here. He's asking me for money, and I take out my earbud. Yeah, of course, but I don't really have anything on me. And he pulls out his phone, but he's telling me he's homeless, and it's a phone that's fully charged. And he's like, well, I also got Venmo. I don't really know how to use it, but I'm just asking for a little bit, something helps. And I'm like, me being super helpful and nicey, and I will be honest with myself, 100% honest with myself, because I don't want to bullshit anyone. I also just want to get going with my day. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever, right? I'm giving this man, right. I Venmo him $10, and I write on the thing something nice. Right. I don't know what to fucking call it. Right. I just wrote something nice, $10. Here you go, Mister. I'm not gonna say his name. he says, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate it." And he walks away, right? And I didn't mention this to you. No mask, long hair, beanie, but he does have a backpack. And I will say that I kind of scanned him, right? I scanned him a little bit, right? Because also I'm getting a little bit of stranger danger. He just walked up to me, right? I'm just trying to go to the office.
Right.
But anyways, and he's huffing puffing a cigarette. Doesn't have a mask on, which was a red flag for me. People in the chat already know. And yeah, I give him the bug, say something nice. I'm like, yeah, whatever helps. Put on my music, press play, turn it down a little bit because now I'm out of focus, right? I was so in the zone just walking. And then I start thinking to myself, this guy had a phone that was fully charged with a Venmo account. He's not. I don't want to judge him by his clothing either, but I mean, I kind of did because I'm in the moment. I was in the moment.
Right.
But I wasn't considering him a bad guy or anything. And I'm like, I just gave this man $10. This dude, and I'll be real. We were on the same age, except that he's kind of scruffy, of course, long hair. He's right. He says he wants a haircut, and I'm like, is he being for real? Did I get comments on it? Minutes later, I'm at my work. I'm sitting down, I'm chilling. I'm watching my sports videos every now and then. And he says, thanks, -3, so a heart, right? A -3, a heart. And I'm like, okay. He said, thanks. I don't really want to respond because there's this really weird level of discomfort over what just happened. And I don't think it's discomfort because he creeped me out. It's discomfort because I'm just so confused. And and I'm like, did I Venmo a guy $10 and he kind of tricked me? Or was he actually someone who just happened to have a phone because of maybe a friend gave it to him and he created an account and he really is trying to do this? I rubbed it off and just put it away and just, $10 to me is like just, don't go eat out for one meal.
Right.
I'm lucky to say that. So I'm like, whatever. If he done good with me, what the fucking ever, right? If he didn't, I'm glad I could help.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I guess the point of that story with the rant was, I'm the kind of guy who, if a homeless person asks me for money, if I do, here you go.
Yeah,
I don't need the extra $5 in my thing. Actually, a couple times, I mean, this is a thing with major cities. Homelessness is a huge issue in big cities. In Seattle, it's become almost a pandemic or an endemic of its own. I will say endemic because everything that the city has tried to do has not worked. And it's a huge problem here. I see a homeless person, I got $5 and a couple coins. Please take it. I don't need it. I pay card with everything, or if I eat out, pay with card, or you Venmo your friend. Everything's online now, tracked, by the cent online. So I don't need this money.
Yeah.
Nowhere, like honestly, and the pandemic makes it worse. No one's taking cash almost.
Yeah.
So please take it. But and just to really go through with how big I am on this. One time, my previous workplace got donated way too many meals for families. They were gonna throw them away or put them in the fridge until they go bad, until we run out. And I said, no. Please give me 2 big boxes. I went around my neighborhood in Seattle and just gave them away because I'm like, this is meatloaf and veggies and mashed potatoes. These people could eat it. And I gave them a phone, and it's a fully charged phone that I will say did not look very scratch. Was it a high-end phone? No, but also, you never know. I guess the moral of the story is you never know. If you gave the person $10 and they baffled you, be mad for a couple minutes. That's okay. That's completely normal. You just got lied to, but you didn't know. You were in the right in this situation. I was in the right if that's what happened. And the reality is maybe he was trying to get a haircut and find jobs and, try to rebuild his life. So, and I hope that the $10 can help him afford it, or can help him buy a meal so that he can save up his money to get that haircut, I guess. But anyways, I guess that's the moral of the story. If you're that kind of person like me, and you just gave someone money and you kind of feel like you got done goofed,
right,
then you were in the right. You were trying to be a good person. Move on.
Yeah.
Just move on.
I think that's well within its rights of you feeling that way. Um, I'll start my rant now so you can go take care of your business. Mine's going to be taking like a
I'll come
comedy
back.
turn, but then I'll tell you later. All right. Or you can
Man,
listen.
mine started out comedically and it ended deep.
Yeah. That's entirely possible. All right. So,
All right, be right back, friends.
guys, what my thing is I'm a fan of this show called The Mighty Boosh, which is a British comedy from the mid-aughts. And there's this wonderfully hilarious thing that he just reminded me of. And basically what happens is, if you've ever seen the YouTube clip, The Crack Fox, Mighty Boosh, it's from that episode. So one of the guys is like, it's a homeless, he's walking along and there's a homeless fella. And the homeless, it's like, listen, ain't got any cash. It's like, and then it's like, oh, well, I take card. And he literally pulls out one of those e-readers that you plug it in and you can pop in your thing. And it's so funny because the guys, not only that, it's like, oh, thank you. Oh, here's your receipt for your taxes. Hilarious. Great bit. And then he also, the character, watch the show. It's good. It's wonderful. If you got VPN, I'm sure you can watch it through Netflix or something. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Just genuinely hilarious because then he gives them a coat, and then at the end of the episode, he ends up saving them from like a magically charged demon crack fox. And it's like he drinks like a Red Bull. It's like liquid power, and he starts beating the shit out of them as they run away. Not the people he's saving, but obviously the monster, bad situation thing. Genuinely hilarious. Now, going on to the thing of what he said earlier about the doubt. Listen, doubt's going to happen. And ultimately, at the end of the day, one of the most human things you can do is give something that you have to someone who may not have as much as you. Even if it's just something like $5, $10. The question of him having that technology of the smartphone that's fully charged, who's to say that he didn't go to a homeless shelter and charge the phone, or being able to benefit from some sort of welfare program? Because I know people who were able to get smartphones, not great smartphones, but smartphones nonetheless, so that they could operate in our society. Because in today's society, you kind of need a computer or a computer-like device like a smartphone to be able to do it. Don't ever let it stop you from giving to the less fortunate. Although I'm not a fan of the gospel of giving, but it's better than without and letting these people just starve or something. So it's very important to focus on the fact that it's a positive thing what Ian did. And you also have to remember that it's extremely important for you, just charity in some case it's a wonderful thing if you're helping someone who needs help. Never let it be said that you can't help a person even if they have resources you don't expect them to have. This person had a cell phone. This person had a full charge on the cell phone. Nevertheless, again, he could have gotten it at a welfare place, with help from the government to be able to start working, because it's hard to get a job without a phone to apply for jobs these days. It's hard.
We're talking about my rant.
Yeah, it's important to realize.
Good point.
Yeah, it's important to realize that listen, you're more likely to have a cell phone these days than to have a fucking full stomach.
Holy crap, that's so true.
And
thank you for grounding me there.
Yeah. So it's important to not doubt the importance of helping out others. And it's just, you did a good deed, man. The doubt was there and you got past it, and it's important to relax on that issue.
Yeah, and now, it doesn't, I don't think about it that much. So I just thought about it because I was like, when I was doing the rant, I was like, what weird thing happened to me that I could talk about? And that, and I believe, if you're like me, you're in the right for the helping.
Yeah.
And I will say preemptively, or, now post facto, thank you for those who have helped out others. Maybe you've gone in a little bit of a doubt, but you took the step that not a lot of people would take.
And that's the important thing. So we're getting close to the mark. We're going to start to wind down for the show. I know you still have a bit of time left, but let's talk about some personal projects. So, listen, man, you're making you do music, right? You make music.
Yep. I write my own guitar music and record right here, everybody. Where you're at, you're in my office, which my bed's right there. My little fatty here.
It's the same thing
Nick met
here.
him when we lived in
You can
Irvine together.
there you go. I remember.
Little fatty. But yeah, I record music here in my room. You could say I'm kind of lo-fi, but I don't really put that in my genre. I'm on Bandcamp. If you look up my name, Ian Morales, IAN space MORALES. Yeah. Yeah, I write my own music. I'm really into post-rock, math rock, experimental, indie, acoustic because I don't have an electric guitar.
Mm-hmm.
My electric guitar is in San Diego, but shipping it over has been kind of an issue now with COVID too. But yeah, everything's just been, just a guy in his living room, a guy in his bedroom making music.
It's almost like the name of this podcast, the Guy in a Basement podcast. There you go. That's
hey,
great, man.
DIY culture is fucking awesome. So you'd be amazed. It's just me in a with a guitar and a laptop and a phone. Believe it or not, I record everything on my phone. And my phone, I'm lucky to say, has really good recording quality for some damn reason.
Yeah.
And people tell me that sometimes they put my music on to work or relax.
That's
to
good,
space
man.
off. And I'm like, oh my God, did you just say that? I was not expecting those kinds of comments, those kinds of things. I'm just like, this is what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I make music. It gets hyped up for that night.
Yes.
Maybe it's like that for 3-4 days because my posts are up there with the algorithm and people's feeds, and then it gets shoved down.
Right.
And then the listeners go down. But guess what? That actually happened. But people they'll still do come to me on the internet, of course. It's like it helped me relax a bit. I was able to meditate a bit or literally just work on something or study, and I'm like, oh my God, that means the world to me. When it's people that you may have not even talked to in a while, friends from high school are sharing my posts when I say I have a new EP coming out on Saturday.
Yeah.
And people are reposting that. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't talked to you in ages, and you're doing this. Thank you. And all the support has been really awesome. Even though it's close friends, it means the universe to me because my projects, and I guess this gets a little in depth with it, my project started out as a self-care mechanism. Mm. If you look at the dates of my releases, it's been in 2020, the year of the pandemic, the year of isolation, the year of literally just having that free time. And that's what it was. It's a product of my free time. However, some of those songs are older than our friendship here, dude. And it's just that no one has heard them until I got the free time. And I guess I needed that little bit of self-care and that little bit of motivation, of course. And it's, that's just a weird plus from it, right? And I'm just so happy what started out as a self-care project became like I post, and again, it's still self-care. It's still like fun. It's still my creative output. Mm-hmm. And then there's people involved with it. And I think that's awesome. And so, yeah, EP coming out on Bandcamp, Ian Morales, MORALES, because my last name can be harder to spell apparently sometimes. Coming out this Saturday, and then I already have 2 EPs out with a couple singles from those EPs as they were coming out.
Right.
And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna stop.
That's good.
And I have been writing music for a time. I used to be in 2 bands in high school.
There you go.
And I used to be in a tiny music project in college that never took off with going public with releases.
Right.
But still, the rehearsals were fun. So yeah.
There you go. It's that's beautiful, man. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad that this has allowed people to become more artistically driven to just produce. I'm cool. Writing a lot. Obviously, I write the poetry, but I'm also writing a couple books and a screenplay.
There we go. I should get back into writing poetry. Yeah. I used to write poetry. I also have a writing blog on Twitter, which hasn't been active since probably March of last year. But
Trust me,
anyways,
I understand.
it's so yeah, that one is under the moniker of Undid.
I think a nice way to end this now, before we do our final like plug of stuff and everything, would be like, so pop culturally, is there any stuff like video games, pop news, movies, TV shows you're watching or excited for coming out soon?
I'm I'm not gonna say I'm a normie, but I'm kind of a minimalist with my media.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that, well, there are a lot of things that are being hyped up right now, a lot of things that people are talking about right now. The one thing that got brought up with my co-teacher this today was the show WandaVision
Ha.
and all the stuff that's been going on and all the shows that have been coming up, right? And all these movies and shows, but I'm like, I don't keep up with those things. Actually, my day-to-day life is just teach kids. I bike, I read, I write music, and I watch anime with my partner and roommates. And I actually haven't been gaming lately. I barely just finished Breath of the Wild on the Switch. I guess in terms of pop culture and media, I'm super excited for the new Pokemon games that were announced, especially Arceus, Legends Arceus.
Yes, so thank you. I'm glad someone else is
I'm excited for that
that
dynamic.
Yeah.
I haven't played Pokemon in so long, but hopefully this game does not flop and it can deliver that open world, maybe Breath of the Wild-esque dynamic to the Pokemon world.
Hopefully it's a success, and because that's the transition I want to see them go towards.
Right. Also, I don't think a lot of people are talking about this enough, but I need to correct myself right now before I make any misinformation after like spending 2 hours talking against it.
Right.
I think that Kingdom Hearts, it's making its way to PC.
I did
Kingdom
see that.
Hearts is making its way to PC
all of
on
them.
Epic Games.
There you go.
All of them. And I'm like, bro. And I love Kingdom Hearts. I've only played one, 365 8 days. And I forgot which other ones, but yeah, A Chain of Memories.
There you go.
Never 2, never 3. I don't own a PlayStation 4. Well, there's one in the living room, but it's not really mine. But yeah, I'm excited that I can finally just have it all centralized instead of being on the PlayStation 3 in the living room. It's right here. So I'm excited for that. If anyone else is a Kingdom Hearts fan here, since elementary school, baby.
That's wonderful, man. I'm excited for that too, because I don't have a PS4 and I don't think I'm going to get a PS5 for a long time. So that's a cool thing, just because I played those games back in the day. I'm really excited for, the new Disney movie, just because it's like interesting how it's a Southeast Asian thing. Probably.
Which one is it again?
It comes out tomorrow. Raya and the Dragon.
Which one?
Raya and the Last
Dragon.
One,
yeah, something in the Dragon.
It looks good. I like a lot of the entertainers that are in it. So the voice actors, who I guess are just regular actors, because it's a Disney movie, so they don't use voice actors per se. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. Watch it be a huge Kong. Oh, I don't even know what it might be. Oh, what the hell? You got like Kong version 2. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I they do like the daily releases and then it's gone. So I'm gonna take off the hat at this point.
Oh, that's cool.
So I hopped on that fast. But yeah, dude, it was great. I'm really glad I got them, because I'm gonna wear one of these two. I have to make a decision when I go the day. It's like, all right, who am I on team? Am I on Team Godzilla or Team Kong? I'm like, it's gonna be a tough decision when that movie comes out.
I think I am. Feelings wise, I am Team Godzilla. No, Team Kong. Ooh. But I see the logistical, because people try to break it down, right? People try to break it down. Who would actually win?
Oh,
logistically, I think Godzilla.
Oh no!
But in my feelings, I'm Team Monkey.
Team Lizard versus Team Monkey. Return to Monkey. Return
The
the monkey!
monkey.
Oh
Monker.
shit, I love
But
that
yeah.
name. Yeah, dude, I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah.
I'm excited for that too.
It's gonna be fun. I haven't seen a movie in theaters since maybe like early summer of last year in Japan. And the movie theaters were dang near empty except for some of my coworkers who I went with to see that movie, and then like a random couple like 3 rows ahead. And what I'm gonna do, 10 o'clock first showing, no one's gonna be there on like a Tuesday, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see that Disney movie on Tuesday at 10 o'clock or Thursday someday, and then I'm gonna see Godzilla 10 o'clock in the morning, day it opens. So no one is there because everyone's at school or work, and I just be like, I'm the one person here.
So
this is my
That's
place.
So early.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, like,
you rented it out to yourself.
I rented it out for $10.
God damn.
Yeah, dude.
Last time I went to a movie theater must have been, God, I think August of last year.
Yeah, there you go.
And this was when we were like attempt number 2 at reopening. Because again, with the reopening and COVID, right? It's been like, it's literally just been attempts. Oh yeah, we can reopen now. Oh, just kidding.
I feel so
we
bad
can
for
reopen
Texas
now.
and
It's
like
safe.
Mississippi right
now
now.
this is the holidays.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Now we're in like the 3rd reopening phase, but this one looks a little bit better because the vaccine's out now.
Yes.
It looks better. But I've been seeing a couple things in the past 24 hours. They're like, we're going for our 4th wave. And I'm like, honestly, it still just feels like the one big wave that the United States gets.
There hasn't been 4 waves. It's been, oh, okay, we're going to lock down. Oh, wait, we're almost done? Let's loosen it. Oh, fuck. It's got out again. Oh, shit. Oh, we got to lock down again. Oh, but now it's just good now. We're not going to do it. Second wave. Fuck! Oh, no. The thing, but we were doing so good, and we were bringing it down. It's like, oh, but we're lowering it down. It's good now. Let's bring it back. Oh, shit! No, and more people are dying. Oh, my God. How could this happen? Who
did it? That's...
Guys,
yeah, that's
it's fucking logical thinking. Just fucking shut it down.
Just shut down for a little bit.
Nationalize Amazon.
Easier said than done.
Nationalize Amazon. Give people fucking things. Give them money to stay at home, and they can buy shit on Amazon that you pay for. And just fucking make a war economy like World War II, but use Amazon.
Just give them money to pay rent.
Yeah, exactly. It's not rocket science.
God.
It's fucking called common humanity. Anyway.
And have you seen, the restrictions between eating out at a place has to be well ventilated, socially distant, or outdoor. Have you seen the out in Seattle? It's actually so common, and it looks stupid. There's tents that are fully enclosed that are outside, but they're still fully closed. So you basically created another inside, but outside the brick and mortar place by a tent. And I'm like, wait a second.
That's not good.
There are tents that are just like a tarp or maybe like an actual portable wood platform and roof. Those are pretty cool. I've eaten in those. I've had a couple meals and beers in those. Those are nice. But I've seen literal tents that are closed up really well outside.
Right.
And I'm like, but you just created an enclosed space you created an inside, but just outside.
Oh, boy.
So it's now just indoors.
Yeah.
It's not indoor, a big building. So I'm like, what?
It's an unventilated
and it's super common. Like,
that's bad, man. That's just bad.
It's even worse.
Yeah, because it's like it defeats the purpose of all the things that you're trying to like fulfill. It defeats the entire purpose.
Yeah, I think it's one of those funny memes that's like, have science gone too far? In this case, like us trying to keep ourselves, that's gone too far.
Yeah.
Tents outside have gone way too far. It's literally becoming like an enclosed space. And you raised a good point. I didn't think about there's no ventilation. There's no system of ventilation, just the tent or just a window. And like I said, Seattle wind isn't as bad. So yeah, it's been pretty much. We were in a tent, a closed, maybe tight. I hope it's not tight.
Right.
Tent outside.
There you go.
And it looks funny. It's kind of a it's an ironic meme at this point. But yeah.
Well, there you go. Hopefully it gets resolved. So we're basically close to time. Listen, plug your stuff, man. Then I'll do my plug and we'll end the show here. Thank you so much for coming on, by the way.
Thank you for having me. I'm so down to become like a regular, or an every now and then guest. I
Sure.
kind of need I this is a nice outlet. Again, like I've tried it with a couple of friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, my plug. I will say Ian Morales. Uh, that's me. I have an EP coming out. That's the only thing I could plug in, really. I have an EP coming out on Bandcamp. If you just look up my name, IAN space MORALES. And you can find me on Instagram for chit chatty, funny, or nice photos of nature while I'm on bike rides. I like frogs a lot, so you'll see a lot of frog memes, and a lot of them get very like cutesy and political, but that's what it feels like to be a queen.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah, Undead Oceans, Undead underscore Oceans. Pretty much, yeah. And when things get better, I'll hopefully be doing bigger and better things. Yeah, music wise and any other
Perfect.
thing. And I'm just around for a fun time. And if you're into writing and poetry, I'm more focused on my music friends, but same name, Undead Oceans, Tumblr, you'll see me there.
Wonderful. And all of you guys know that my links are down below with the Instagram,
Hell yeah.
the Facebook fan page for my postings, as well as my Twitter. Like, share, subscribe. Please tell your friends, tell your family if they're okay with it. I don't know. They might have a heart attack if they watch this show. I don't know who your family is. But yeah, this has been Wagon Meister. My name Nick Wagon Meister with my friend Ian on this episode of A Guy in the Basement podcast. Hope y'all liked it.
Wagon Meister Channel.
Yeah, there you go.
Steve, there you go.
Have a nice night. Listen, stay safe out there. But remember, life is short, so make what you will of it. Drive fast, take chances, get the damn shot.
Get the damn shot.
Get the damn shot. Do it for grandma.
I will pay money to send me their vaccine right here, now. That's how bad I want it.
I would too, man. But luckily, there you go. I got mine. Or I will have mine. But there you go. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time. I got a show coming in probably on Saturday with a friend of mine. That one's going to be a fucking ball buster of a crazy time. So please check it out. And I will see you in the next video.